Okay folks, what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to have a look at factorising some quadratic expressions. And what I mean by that is, well actually I'll explain what the opposite is. Do you remember when we did something like x plus 2 in a bracket multiplied by x plus 3 in a bracket? Do you remember doing that from previous lessons? And we would end up with this one multiplied by both of these things, and so I would write down x squared. So I'll do this one multiplied by this one, and then I'm going to do x multiplied by 3, which gives me 3x, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to pick up the 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the x and the 3 again. So I've got plus 2x and plus 6. And then I can simplify the bits in the middle. If you did this, I've got 5x plus 6. There we go. And there's my answer. So this is what we've done previously. Okay. And so what we're doing is we're getting from 2 brackets to this thing here. Now what I want you to draw your attention to is look at this 2 and look at this 3. What do they multiply together to give me? Okay, that's right, they give me 6. Oh, look at that. Is that just a coincidence that this number here is a 6? Now, if we look at these numbers again, this 2 and this 3, okay, this 2 and this 3, what do they add to make? That's right, they add together to make this 5. Okay, so now what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to be looking at going from expressions like this to back to the brackets. So we're going to try and do the opposite of what you've already done. Now what I need you to do is I need you to remember that these two add up and it goes in the middle, and they multiply and it goes here. Okay, so just remember that, that's important. So let's start with a quadratic equation that we are going to factorise. So I've got x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now what we can do, and you can do this every time, we're going to put down our 2 brackets because we know that's what our answer is going to look like. And we know that we're going to have an x and an x because when I multiply an x and an x together, I get x squared. So that's what I'm always going to start off with. Now, what I wanted you to remember from the previous slide, okay, was that whatever numbers go in here and whatever numbers go in here, they are going to add together to give us this number, and they are going to multiply together to give us this. So let's have a think. What numbers multiply together to give us 3? And the only 2 that I can think of are 1 and 3. Now, these numbers, do they add together to give us 4? Yes, they do. Do they multiply together to give us 3? Yes, they do. And the last thing, I'm just going to put a plus and a plus. It does get more complicated when we put negatives in there, but this is what we're going to start off doing. Right, let's try another one. Let's try x squared plus 7x plus 6. So let's put down our 2 brackets. Let's do an x and an x. Now I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 6 and add together to give me 1. And if you think about it for a little while, hopefully you'll agree with me that it's plus 1 and plus 6. They multiply to give me 6 and they add together to give me 7. Okay? Right. So let's try x squared minus 7x plus 12. So this really is a bit harder, but I'm still going to put down my 2 brackets. I'm going to put down an x and an x because they multiply together to give me x squared. Now I want 2 numbers that multiply together to give me plus 12. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to write them all down at the side. I've got 1 and 12, okay, I've got 2 and 6, and I've got 3 and 4. But if you remember what a negative times a negative is, okay, negative times a negative is also a positive. So I could have minus 1 and minus 12. I could have minus 2 and minus 6 and minus 3 and minus 4. And each of those multiplications still gives me plus 12, because a minus times a minus is a plus. So what I want to put some numbers in here where I multiply and get plus 12, but they add together to make negative 7. Now I'm going to give you the answer, which is negative 3 and negative 4, because they multiply together to give me plus 12, but they also add up. If you've got minus 3 plus minus 4, that's the same as just minus 3 minus 4, and that gives me the minus 7 in the middle. So these ones with the negatives are a bit harder. Now, what all I'm asking you to do for Hall is exercise 5.6, and I'd just like you to have a look, please, at questions 1 to 5. Okay, just have a look at 1 to 5, okay, because they're just pluses. And then when it comes to negatives, I can help you in the lesson. But remember, this is the important thing, these two numbers, they multiply to give you this, and they add together to give you this one. Okay, so if you have a look at these for tomorrow's lesson, okay, just 5 questions, see if you can do them, and I've got a kind of online activity to have a play around with tomorrow. Thank you.